I can tell you a story now. When the game first came out, right? I think it was winter 96 or winter 97. Can't really remember when it was exactly, but it doesn't matter. The game came out, and back then we used to go to the shop and you know, buy the games, right? There was no downloading or shit like that. And I saw like the package, and it kind of looked intriguing, and I turned the package and saw the screenshots, and I was like, yeah, that sounds cool, you know, let's buy this game, try it out. I thought first it's just like an old school role-playing game or something like that, right? Didn't think much about it, to be honest. And then we installed it. I was with my friend, like my friend was over at my house, and we installed it and played it. And my friend was kind of tired that day, and he just, you know, went to sit on the couch and watch TV. And I inserted the CD in the driver, in the drive, and installed the game and start playing the game, right? And I remember the first moment I was in town, like the first second you are in town and you hear that music, right? And I was like, wow, what is that atmosphere, you know? And nobody knew back then what Diablo is, of course, right? I was like, I was already sold to that atmosphere. I was like, wow, listen to this track here, you know? Wow, great. So I was already sold. So I'm playing the game and progress a little bit here and there. It feels like a usual, like, you know, like an action game. There's monsters and you kill them. Nothing special about it. But it feels great though, you know? It feels great. It sounds great. If my friend wasn't there with me on the couch, I was probably even be afraid, because the dungeons were scary. And now comes the butcher, of course. Everybody has the same story with the butcher, so I'm not going to go into that detail. Same with me here. Saw the butcher first, heard that fresh meat. I was like, oh my. I actually turned to my friend over there because he was like on the right side. And I was like actually looking at him to make sure that he's still there, because I was afraid, you know. So anyway, that's not what I'm going to tell you. What I'm going to tell you is this. Another friend of mine, right? Another friend of mine who was always doing some bullshit, and he always had issues with authorities and all that stuff, right? So he was, when he was outside, he was doing some stupid shit. And his mother was trying to make him stay at home more, and, you know, don't go outside and don't fuck up his life. So I advised the mother, get him a computer. He didn't have one. He didn't have a computer back then. So I told the mother, get him a computer. So what she did is she actually got him a computer, right? And my friend came over one day and asked me like, hey, can you give me some games? What games are you playing right now? And stuff like that. And Diablo was just new, and I had the game. Oh my god, another unique, a gold ring. So I gave him Diablo. And he was very happy, and he was playing the game. Couple weeks later, or maybe a month later, I don't know, he came again to visit me. And then I asked him, hey, have you played the game that I gave you? Have you played Diablo? And now listen exactly what happened. And he said, yes, of course. I even beat the game. He didn't use the term beat, right? We're talking 97 here, 97, 98. He didn't use the term beat, but he said, yeah, I finished the game. I just restarted it. And I was like, oh, really? You restarted the game? Like, wow, like, holy shit, you know? And then he said, yeah, I restarted it because everything changed now. And I was like, what do you mean everything changed? I swear to God, I didn't know what he was talking about. And he said, like, everything has changed. The levels are different. Everything is different. I was like, huh? Because I didn't know the concept of RNG back then, you know? If we played any RPG or something, everything was static, you know? You would draw your maps because you knew exactly, when I go this way, there is a chest. And if I open the chest, I got a dagger +1. That's why we mapped the shit out of it back in the day. But you couldn't map this game because everything was RNG. But I didn't know it. And my friend that was completely new to games and all, he was having a computer for the first time, told me about it. And was like, no, the game is different. You know, like if you restart the game, everything is different. And I was like, huh? I didn't realize when I played it the first time. So I was like completely like puzzled. I was like, what do you mean everything is different? Yeah, you know, last time I got a sword and this time I got this. And I was like, huh? And then later when I got the game back, I tried it myself. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, how is that possible? You open the chest and you get a ring. But if you open the chest again in a different session, there's no ring. I swear to God, I couldn't understand the concept. I was like, huh? How can this be random? That makes no sense. How am I supposed to, you know, beat the game if everything is random? I didn't understand it back then. I'm not kidding. It's a true story. So my new friend told me about Diablo. You know, he told me about the RNG aspect of Diablo. So yeah. And then I got obsessed with it, and 2 years later or something, Diablo 2 came out. Or it was announced and then came out, and then I was so obsessed with the game. And back then I was into Quake, a lot of into Quake, and we had like a clan. And there was a guy that was already like, he was working on building a company, right? And like an online company with like websites dedicated to games back then. It was like 98, 99. And he was in my clan, in my Quake clan. And we talked a little bit, blah, blah. And there was like a very famous Quake website back then. It was called planetquake.com. One of the first websites that I visited back then when I had like internet, like visited regularly. And I had the idea back then, hey, why don't we like make like a German Quake, Planet Quake website? And he was like, yeah, that's actually a great idea. Let's do it. And then we made planetquake.de, which I think maybe even exists today. I don't even know. And then later he said, bro, I am actually thinking about creating a Diablo 2 website. Are you interested in becoming the second webmaster? And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it, you know. And I became the second webmaster of the website, and it became the biggest European Diablo 2 website ever. And it was so big, it was mentioned in magazines and even shown on TV. There was like a TV program dedicated to video games, and they even showed our website. It was so fucking big. And we're talking 99, 2000 here, guys. Don't forget that. It was so fucking big. We had 2 million page impressions per day. Per day. And Planet Quake still exists, yeah. And I was the second webmaster. The first webmaster was more like in the background and doing like a lot of the technical administration. And I was like more like in the... how do you say that? Like in the foreground, you know. I was doing not just administration work, but also I was responsible for all the forums, for all the news. I was responsible for getting more staff members and stuff like that. And I remember we had so many viewers on the website daily, guys, that I posted a news. News is maybe not the best example. I posted a poll, right, for the members on the main page, and back then we had slow internet, right? Our internet wasn't as fast as now, so I posted the poll, asked them a question. For example, what's your favorite class, right? The game is completely new; it just got released. And our domain name was actually Diablo2.de. So we even had just the name, and it was perfect. Later, Blizzard filed some law shit and they actually got the domain. But that happened later. So what I'm going to say is this. I posted a poll, reloaded the website, and it was slow back then. It needed like maybe 10 seconds to load. And there was already 250 votes. I just posted the poll, bro. And there was already 250 votes. It was completely... 2 minutes longer, yeah. It was completely out of control. Completely. And then at that time, I went to university, started my computer science studies. And I remember there was like a computer pool where you could like, there was like 20 or 30 computers, right? And there we started like our first steps programming in C and all that shit. And there was like a short break of 15 minutes. And people were surfing a little bit. It was allowed to surf certain websites. And I heard, I overheard 3 people talking about Diablo 2. And I looked over my shoulder and they were on like gathered on one computer screen and they were looking at a website. And then I looked like, what website is that, you know? And I realized they were looking at our website. And I just went over there and I was like, oh, nice, you're also playing Diablo 2. Yeah, man, great game and stuff. And I was like, do you like the website? Yeah, it's the best. And I was like, do you know who I am? You know? And they couldn't believe it. They were like, what? You are the... back then I was called Fragmaster, okay? I was not called Menthur. I was called Fragmaster because of my Quake playing, right? So the webmaster was called Fragmaster. And all the news was posted by me, you know, like my name was all over the place. Everybody knew me. And those guys met me, you know, like, you are Fragmaster? I was like, yeah, I am the guy. And they didn't believe me. And I was like, okay, get away from the screen. And I logged in, you know, tuk, 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 tuk. And I was like, yeah, you see this? Huh? You see this? They couldn't believe it, you know. Oh, man, those were the times, man. I loved it, man, so much. Yeah. There's your Diablo 2 story from my side, bros. Oh, man. I miss those times so much. Oh, fuck. Man. Like, we were using ICQ back then, you know? Like, I had, like, because of Diablo 2 and the website, I had, like, 180 people on my ICQ. It was, like, going per minute. 20 times per minute. Man, I could listen to telling stories for hours. Yeah, man, I have crazy stories, bro, like literally. Oh man, I miss those times especially, man. Diablo 2 and all that stuff. Let me try to find that actually. It doesn't exist anymore. But I think what exists is this one here. Oh man, that doesn't exist anymore. Holy shit, what about this? Yeah. Okay, wait a second. Oh, whatever. This, yeah, they changed the company completely. Yeah. Let me see here. This is how the company was called back then. And he was just about to form the company. They changed a lot. I think they sold the company now. But as you can see here, maybe down here somewhere. It must be here. Yeah. Yeah, they sold it. Give me a second. Maybe I can find the name. I think his name was Pierre. Oh, yeah, here. Pierre Christian Schmidt. Yeah, that's the guy. That guy was in my clan. And in-game was just about to get formed, you know? In Hamburg, yeah. And this guy was in my clan, and he asked me, "Hey, would you like to become the webmaster?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's the guy." Yeah. Planet Quake still exists, really? PlanetQuake.de. Yeah, but that's just the forum. That was the logo we used back then, but it was not EU. Didn't exist. But it was .de. Yes, the forum still exists, but I think the website doesn't exist anymore. But what I could show you maybe is let me try to find that. What's that archive called? Web archive? What the fuck is that called? Yeah, the Wayback Machine. Yeah, here. So enter a URL. If I go with Diablo2.de, you see? You see? It started around here, just like I told you. Yeah, it started around 2000. Let me see if I can find maybe a screenshot or something. That's gonna be interesting if I can find one. The website looked amazing back then. For that time, it looked amazing. I don't know if I can, like, okay, it's loading. Yeah. Here, Fragmaster. That's me. 18th of October 2000. You see? Of course, all the graphics are gone, but yeah, here, there you go. Fragmaster. You see? Fragmaster here. That's me. Chaos Sanctuary update, blah, blah, blah. Would you look at that? Yeah. Yeah. I remember this guy. This guy was from the same guild. We had a guild back then. A Diablo guild. And yeah, that's me here. Unfortunately, the graphics are not loading. Maybe, let me see if I can find maybe another screenshot. Yeah, oh yeah, there's another one here. But unfortunately, the graphics are not loading. Man, this website was amazing for its time. It was one of the first websites where you could comment on news and shit like that. Oh, this looks better. Look at this. Yeah. Look at this. This is even from 2001. Now you get an idea for how long I worked on the website. I mean, the logo and shit, it was amazing. Like, okay, for nowadays, of course, it looks like shit, right? But believe me, guys, those times back then, the website looked unbelievably great. It was amazing. And there's so many, like, guides here. Like I told you guys, there's so many people on the website. I mean, look at this. Even just this news, it's just a news, had 73 comments. This is 2000, 2001. You know? There was no Google, there was no YouTube, nothing. You know, and that's and this is already 1 year after the launch of the website. 1 year after. And there's still like a news, just a news, with 73 comments. Can you believe this? What, like here, look at this. 82 comments. And Google was one of the news reporters I actually recruited. I recruited this guy. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, Diablo2.de. And of course, the game is called Diablo 2. So what were people doing? Diablo2.de, of course, because it's German. But then, sometime later, Pierre, like, you know, like the boss of the company here, told me, oh shit, we have to change the domain now. I was like, what's happening? Yeah, it got so big that it got the attention from Blizzard, and they're not gonna allow us to use the name. And we had to change the domain's name. But it didn't really hurt us because we were so, like, how do you say that? So popular that changing the domain name didn't really hurt the website. Look at this, for example. Let me see if I can even click the link here. Yeah, this is a guide for the Horadic Cube. Yeah. Last change, 23 December 2000. And this whole guide, I did it all by myself. It says now down here, you see Fragmaster and Tactile. But it's not really true. It was just Fragmaster. I did the whole, like all the recipes here, right? If you use this, you get that and stuff like that. Yeah. I worked on the website, I'm not even kidding, 12 to 16 hours a day. Because of that, I couldn't even play the game. I had no time to play the game, bro. I just did the website.